Hey guys, it's Kels back at it again with another video, another Friday Night Live. I promised you that each and every Friday night I will go live and show my face. So here I go, back at it again for week 44, consistent of our Friday night kickbacks. I know I'm a little bit late, apologies. I know y'all probably tired of hearing that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I appreciate you waiting for me. I see a couple of you guys in here already. Thank you so much for being up in the building already, ready for our Friday night kickbacks collective. Now, you know the deal. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Let me know in the chat if you're watching live or in the replay, if you're part of the replay gang, where are you watching from and what you're sipping on. The dog H2O, as I've had for probably the last month and a half, 2 months. It's the throat chakra. It only H2O is available to lubricate. So, that's what we've been sipping on. But feel free on your end to sip on whatever wets your whistle this Friday night. I know it's probably been a long week. We're well into the thick of Scorpio season, and I know this is like heavy for a lot of people. So whatever you feel like sipping on, sip on that. But for me, it's H2O. Yes. So we're not gonna cheers yet. I'm gonna give it like 2 seconds for y'all to come on in, get your little snack, get you something to sip on, get settled in. You know what I mean? Let us get settled and ready to chat as we do on every Friday night. So we'll hold off on the cheers for a second. I do want to make sure you can see me and you can hear me. Let me just make sure that you're coming in clear on the feed. Let me see here. You guys know I have my little monitor set up. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good. And yes, oh, the light on my end, the light always looks, oh, there we go. There we go. On my end, the light always looks a little bit, the light always looks a little bit bright. So I just took it down a little bit. Just took it down a little bit. It's still looking a little bit bright. Hopefully that settles in a second. There we go. Hopefully that looks better. I'm wearing red lips tonight, so all of the little things that I normally do to get the lighting properly is thrown off a little bit because I felt like doing something cheap and cheerful. Felt like doing a little cheerful lip today. And so we're going to run with it. Yeah. All right. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So how have you guys been feeling this week? I feel like this week I have been extra tired, extra sleepy. And then when I do sleep, I feel like it is a bunch of that heavy, like I'm in another realm type of sleep. Like, when you sleep and you don't even remember anything about it, half the time it's like that. And then the other half, it's like a bunch of these dreams of pretty much foolishness, all kinds of weird dreams and things like that. So it's a lot going on in the dream realm. I feel like been super tired during the daytimes, but I definitely know there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of eclipses happening. It's already October, which, if you know anything about October is very, a heavy kind of time. Scorpio season already is a heavy type of time. So I've definitely been feeling it this week. You guys let me know, how's your week been? How have you been feeling? How you've been feeling at work, at school, at home, whatever your day-to-days are. Let me know what your thoughts are on how today has been or this week has been going. Okay, I think it's coming in good. Good. But yeah, for me, I've just been a little bit tired, but I've honestly been being very kind of kind with myself, being very relaxed, just letting myself rest, letting myself go slowly and things like that. That honestly, that quiet as it's kept, that's why fall is my absolute favorite season, is because not only are the fashions the very best, but also it's just I don't feel like there's a lot of fear of missing out where you feel like you have to be on go like it is during the summer. I do like to go out during the fall, but I also love that you start to like wind down a little bit and you can maybe get a little bit of a fireplace going if you have one of those, if you live in that part of the country. or you can start getting a little bit more cozy, a little bit more relaxed. I love that. And then the holiday season is amazing. Halloween is my fave, Thanksgiving is cute, Christmas is my other fave, New Year's Eve is fun. So all of these kind of seasons in the fourth quarter are amazing. So I'm really just like really getting into fall. And let me ask y'all this. Is it me, or do it seem like it's going to be a real cold winter? It feels like it's going to be really cold. It's already cold. I woke up this week, it was 30, 34, 37s, near freezing points. I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be a cold winter. It's going to be a cold winter. You know what I mean? And so I saw some family up in Detroit saying that it was snowing already up in Detroit. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's about to be real cold this year. So get prepared. Also, my family in South Florida was saying, oh, we woke up when it was a cold front. It was 68 degrees. It was 68 degrees. It was a cold front. I said, oh, cold front. Okay, yeah. 68 degrees is cold. Honestly, 68 degrees is kind of cold when you're in South Florida, and nothing is built for that type of temperature. So if it's up to me, I feel like it's about to be a cold winter, and I'm not mad at it, but I think we should just get prepared, get your little boo going, your little warm stuff going. You know what I mean? Get your fireplaces together because it's about to be cold. But for this week, I just was feeling like rest, sleep, rest, sleep, rest, And so it's just been interesting. Yeah. What say y'all? So as you guys let me know how your week has been and all that, let's talk about what we're cheersing to. Let's cheers to rest. Let's cheers to rest, rejuvenation, Let's cheers to rest. Let's cheers to rejuvenation. Let's cheers to self-care. Let's cheers to pouring into ourselves. Let's cheers to aligning with the seasons, and when it's fall and it's getting into hibernation period, letting ourselves hibernate. Okay, let's cheers to that. Click. Shake it clear. Cheers into self-care and rolling with the seasons, right? So cheers. Okay, so it's looking like we're coming in clear on the monitors. And yes. So what else? So you guys had a clear winner this week on the selection. This is week 44. We on a week 44 consistent each and every Friday night. Y'all should already know, but if you're new to the thing, if you're new to our Friday night kickbacks, each and every Thursday night we do a topic drop or a topic voting thing on Instagram and here on the community tab on YouTube. Basically, I draw 4 topics that have something to do with what's going on during the week in my life, and I really feel like it'd be the same for y'all's life. You guys get to vote Thursday night into Friday, and then on Friday night I pick the number 1 option and we talk about it. We get into it. And then not only do you hear me talk, but we learn from the collective wisdom of the IT'S KELLS community. So we have the collective chiming in the chat. We also have the collective chiming in the comments if they're part of Replay Gang, because Replay Gang is strong around these parts. So if you're not catching us live, you can definitely chime in, share with the collective your thoughts about our topic, and drop this emoji in the comments to let me know that you are part of our Replay Gang. All right. So, and if you're watching us live, and I do see y'all in here, y'all real quiet tonight, but appreciate the eyes nonetheless. Sometimes we're more quiet than others, but yeah. So that's the deal on our topic drops. So this week we do have our 4 options. I'm gonna do the topic rundown, let you know the thinking, the thoughts, the ideas, what I was thinking when I put those as options this week, and then I'll do the topic reveal and what we're getting into, what you guys voted as your number 1 topic for this week. And then we'll talk about it as usual. Yeah. So let me take a little sippy sip. I'm actually hungry. I did not. Sometimes I get to eat dinner before we go on these lives, but sometimes I don't. So tonight I did not get a chance to eat, and I'm starved. Well, I'm not starving. I'm just like I'm what they call peckish. I'm peckish. I could eat something. So we might not be on too long tonight, but we'll see. We'll see how the vibe goes. We'll see how all of that goes. Good and Rich is chiming in. We in here. We just tired from the work week. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I've been so tired this week. And I'm just like, okay, let me just give myself permission to slow down, to rest and all of that. And you know what's funny about that too? It's like I'm tired, but like I'm tired during a certain period of time. And then after that window of time, I be up until 1 a.m. And I'm like, what is going on with my circadian rhythm? What is going on with my sleep patterns? But regardless, I give y'all permission to be quiet, be chill tonight. You know, I'm up because with these lights on and ready to talk to you guys, I'll be excited. I'm super excited to kick it with you guys on Friday nights. But if anybody else is tired, full permission to just chill, just kick it, just be quiet, just be listening ears tonight. We're okay with that. We're totally okay with that. So I feel you getting rich. Thanks for chiming in. So let's look at here. Let's look at the topics. I want to tell you guys a little bit of background about the topics that we selected or that we were choosing from tonight, the little logic, little thinking about what we were talking about this week. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting that happened this week. You guys know, here's the deal. I don't be watching news. I don't really be knowing what's going on in the world unless it comes in my feed. Sometimes I see a little gossip, Bravo gossip come through my YouTube feed and things like that. But I try to stay out of the drama and everything like that because I'm just trying to keep my emotional and kind of spiritual and everything as high as possible. And the reason why I'm very meticulous about that, about my spiritual hygiene, is because I know right now is a big period of change and I want to usher in the most positive, uplifting, supportive, abundant, prosperous, joyous, blissful change possible for myself. And in order for me to do that, I got to keep my emotions high. I got to keep my spiritual and emotional hygiene high. So I have been pretty much pulled all the way back from a lot of people, places, and things, and just trying to maintain the highest vibration possible for myself because the way these changes are set up, and I know y'all could probably feel it, the way these changes is coming in fast and furious, I want to set the vibrational atmosphere in my life at the highest level I'm able to attain right now. So that's the reason why I feel you on the being very tired. And I also want to let y'all know I don't be watching everything on TV. So I'll be under a rock. So if there's something particular that's going on in, you know, regular life that you're like, how come Kels is not talking about that? It's probably because I didn't see it. It's probably because it's intentionally muted on my Instagram feed. So if it's something specific that y'all want to talk about though, that you think, then we really should talk about that. Or I really would like to hear Kel's perspective on that, by all means, slide in my DMs, slide in my email, slide in the comments here on our live, and we could get into it a little bit, you know, if it's something that kind of fits in with the topic that we're talking about tonight. So that's the reason why certain things that be out in the collective, I don't really be picking up on because the way my spiritual hygiene is set up these days, I am under a rock, staying in my own lane, just holding myself in the highest place that I can. Because I want, you know, it's certain things I'm trying to, you know, be in vibrational alignment with. So if the girls that get it, get it. The girls that get it. So that's the reason why certain things I don't be talking about. But if you want to talk about it, let me know. Rich is a good and Rich is giving me love. You look fabulous, by the way. Thank you, boo. You know, thank you. You know, I'll be trying to pull it together for you guys. I don't just be wanting to come on here all, you know, looking like I just rolled out of bed. I be wanting to pull it together for you guys. You know, the collective. We got to keep pulling it together. You know, we got to keep showing up and using our voices. So I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. All right, so let's do this. Let's look at the topic options for tonight and let's see what you guys have been what you guys voted for. Yeah, so let's do that. All right, so Instagram, it's Kels over on Instagram. All right, so here we go. So we had our 4 topic options. Let me just write this down. I'm gonna try to do the time the time. I'm gonna try to do the timestamps at the same time that we do this tonight. Okay, so you guys know we have our 4 topic options, and they're on over on Instagram. And the first one was how to let go of familiar struggles. How to let go of familiar struggles. So I felt like the wording on this one was a little bit weird because you might think I was talking about like familial, like family related struggles, but that is not what I was talking about. I was talking about familiar struggles. And the reason why I wanted to kind of put this, why I've been working on this and kind of why I wanted to put this option out there this week was because there's certain struggles that we have in life over and over and over again that we don't even realize that we keep choosing these struggles. We keep choosing the same struggle over and over and over again because we think we have no option to choose otherwise. In fact, we might not even recognize that we're choosing that same struggle and that we don't have to do that. We can actually let our hands go. We can actually let it go. We can actually say, I don't choose that anymore. And completely let it go, cut all ties with it, no longer engage with the particular struggle. And I've kind of been working on that. There's some struggle that I have around earning money, how I earn my money, that I recognize that, oh, I am really tied to this concept that I have to fight and kick and scratch and negotiate for money to come into my experience, for me to align with buku money. And guess what? What if I decided that I no longer want that struggle? What if I decided that that was a conditioned or a learned struggle, a learned behavior of how things operate on this plane? And I don't want to, how about I want to give it an opportunity? How about I want to have the faith of a mustard seed that that struggle is not for me? I no longer choose that struggle. And any evidence of that struggle in my life, it got to go. It got to kick rocks. Any negotiation or struggle that I'm in with any person, place, or thing that feels like struggling over money, please believe that I'm cutting ties with it. Okay. So that was, this is trial and error. I'm in my experimental phase. So, if it makes sense to you, it makes sense. If it don't, just know that I'm working on it and I'm experimenting with that, shifting my mentality and my ideas around how I earn my money. And so we're going to see how it work out. Now, the way my intuition is set up, I'm feeling like I'm going in the right direction. But as I said, it's definitely experimental because it's very different than how I was raised. So I thought to put that as an option for our topic tonight, but I don't think I worded it properly. It's a very like kind of deep subject. And so I kind of just worded it like, well, how to let go of these familiar struggles, these struggles that we always have had and that we think are normal, but actually maybe they're not. And so that's why I worded it that way. But y'all ain't vote for it. It was 0%. So I think I could have done a better job at wording that one. But now that you understand what I'm talking about with it, if it's something that you guys want to talk about, definitely slide in the DMs. Let me know if you want to talk about letting go of these struggles that we've kind of been conditioned to think that are necessary, but maybe, just maybe, are not necessary. All right. That was the number 1 option, 0%, as I said. Number 2 option was how to tune into your inner guidance. How to tune into your inner guidance. This came in at 22% over on Instagram. When I say inner guidance, I'm talking about your instinct. I'm talking about your intuition. I'm talking about your inner voice, what you hear, what guidance you receive from non-physical. So it might just be your gut reaction. It might just be a gut feeling. It might just be your instinct or your intuition. How do you tune into that and how do you sharpen that? How do you decipher between your mind telling you to do something or your heart or your soul or your inner guidance telling you to do something? I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, but that only came in at 22%. So I might have to drop that again next week to see if you guys pick up what I'm throwing down there. But that kind of was the background on that. I felt it was important to just talk openly about how you sharpen that intuition, how you sharpen that inner voice, and how you tune into that inner guidance so you're making better decisions. You have better timing, more alignment with your life, things going more in your favor because you are going on the right path, right? So I might drop that again next week, see if y'all pick that one up, okay? Number three option was how to anticipate a brighter future. How to anticipate a brighter future. Again, I felt like my wording was a little bit off this week. This only came in at 22%. And what I was meaning by how to anticipate a brighter future is like when you want to change where you're going, when you're wanting to open up better options for yourself, when you're wanting to shift things around a little bit, how do you set yourself up for that? How do you anticipate that? How do you uh, open the door for that brighter future, for that better future, for even just a new future, a new thing, a new path that you want to embark on? How do you open up the doors to that? And so that's why I say anticipate a brighter future. That came in at 22%. I think I might drop this one again next week and do a little bit better wording on it. I think y'all might understand me better if I do a little bit better wording on it. So that's what our number three option was. And our number four, and what I was thinking about it. And our number four option is which self-care habits are most important? Which self-care habits are most important? This came in at 56% over on IG. More than half of you guys voted. Wanted to talk about self-care and which habits are most important. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about how my self-care is set up. I'm gonna tell you about how, what I do, how I came to it, and which ones I think really move the needle, really make a difference, and how I care for myself. And we'll get into it. And we're not only talking about physical, we're talking about emotional and mental self-care as well. That was our number one topic. Which self-care habits are most important to us? And so that is your topic for tonight. What say you guys? I think it's fitting. I think it's definitely fitting that we're going to be talking about self-care tonight because as Good and Rich said, everybody's been I've been tired this week. I've definitely been tired this week. So I know y'all probably feeling this. Like Good and Rich said, y'all feeling the same way. So I think it's perfect that we talk a little bit about self-care. I do feel like it's a little bit of a more, I want to say, relatable topic, but here's the deal. I'm not necessarily interested in being relatable because I've been watching a couple podcasts and things like that this week, and they are all talking about the same things over and over and over and over again. And I'm tired of hearing the same topics. I'm tired of hearing about relationship woes. I'm tired of hearing about money woes. I'm tired of hearing about what this ratchet celebrity is doing and what this ratchet celebrity is doing and what this influencer is doing and what that I don't want to talk about none of that. I do not want to talk about none of this basic regular stuff no more. It's not moving the needle. It's not changing nothing. It's not getting us further along. It's not doing anything. It's keeping us trapped in the same karmic circles. So over here, while our topics may not be relatable, they're definitely going to move the needle on our progression, our ascension. Okay. So if you want to talk about that regular stuff and which person got beat up over there, then by all means, we all need a little bit of like foolishness to let our brains settle for the week. But over here, we're just going to talk about something that's a little bit more substance, a little bit that's going to like really take us up a level. Because, we over here, we interested in that level up. Okay. So with that being said, that's just a little bit of a disclaimer. Is not relatable. And look, it's not relatable. It's not 8th grade, 6th grade level over here. It's levels over here. Okay. So cheers. Clink, 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 clink. All right. Okay, I am hungry. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so hungry. Okay. So, topic, I'm not even going to look at YouTube. You guys voted the same on YouTube. I just kind of want to get into the topic tonight. Get into the things. Let's talk about some self-care. Okay, so the topic is which self-care habits are most important? Which self-care habits are most important? So I'm going to give you a little tea on my self-care stuff, what I do, and I'll let you know which ones I think work amazingly and let you know, which ones I think are really, really important. Okay. Oh, also, this topic came up because I was like just doing inventory on what I do. And I realized that I do a hell of a lot of self care, like a lot of self care. And I was like a little bit shocked. I was like, dang, this is a lot. It take a lot. It takes a lot to be the doll. I don't know why, but I just kind of want, I was like, let me look at that and just like see which ones I think really make a lot of sense. So that's another reason why I kind of came up this week is like, whoa, I have a lot of self-care practices. And I think it does make a difference. And, I am interested in sharing a little bit. And I'm also interested in hearing what you guys do as well. So feel free to chime in and all of that. Okay. So which self-care habits are the most important? So what do we mean by self-care? What do we mean? When I say self-care, what are we talking about? What are we talking about when we say self-care? When we say self-care, we're talking about what we do to pour into ourselves, what we do to care for ourselves, not only physically of what we do to care for ourselves, but also mentally what we do to care for ourselves, and almost the most important, what we do spiritually to care for ourselves. And that's the one where I think we might be like, wait, what spiritual, like what do you mean? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the mental hygiene, we're going to talk about the physical hygiene, and we're going to talk about that spiritual hygiene, how we care for ourselves, how we pour into ourselves, how we pay attention to ourselves, how we love on ourselves, okay? That's what we mean by self-care, how we take care of ourselves. Okay? So, first things first. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to go to. So do I want to talk about, yeah, let's just go into, and let's start with mental. I will say this, as I mentioned a few seconds ago in the broadcast, I am in a little bit of an experimental phase in my own life. And so I have been changing them. And I talked about this on the last live as well. I've been changing quite a few things, and changing up the sounds that I'm waking up to, changing up the foods that I'm eating, changing up the smells that I smell in my home, changing up fragrances, changing up food, all of these things, because I'm wanting to progress along my path. And I realize that a lot of times familiar fragrances, familiar sounds, familiar places, familiar people, familiar thoughts keep you wedded to the past. So if you're trying to progress in your life, you're trying to level up, some of these things you have to change. You got to get rid of old things in your home, things that are holding old energies, old clothes, old knickknacks, paperwork, all these things you got to throw out because they're keeping you wedded to the past. So I've been working a lot on that. And so as I was doing inventory of all of the things that I've kind of changed in my life, I realized that, it's a lot of self-care practices that I've been changing, or that I've adopted, or that I've really worked on. You know what I mean? So I thought it was really, really interesting that you guys picked this topic this week, because it's definitely been an overhaul of getting rid of all of the old habits and the old mindsets and the old things that keep me wedded to the past, and adopting these new self-care practices that hopefully will propel me into this future. You know what I mean? Will level me up. You know what I mean? And so let's talk about it a little bit more. All right, so mental self-care. What do I do for my mental self-care? About a year ago in 2021, I decided for my birthday, which y'all know is in March, it's Pisces in the building, okay? I decided in March of 2021 that the best gift I could give to myself was therapy. It was therapy. And I had known that I needed therapy for a long time. And let me quiet as this cat. Every which one of us, especially, okay, especially Okay. So I had known that I needed therapy for a while because I knew that there were things that I just wanted to work on. And I know that is you need an expert to work on life and to get through this life. You know what I mean? And so I knew that in 2021, the most important thing that I could give to myself for my birthday was therapy. So I signed up. I signed up and I did about 6 months of it. And then I took like a 3 or 4 month break. And then I got back into it this year. And while I like it and I do like the opportunity to speak on certain things that I don't speak to anybody else in my life about, um, I think it does take a commitment to yourself. And it does take a commitment to the therapist that you find to build that relationship so that you can actually get to the meat and potatoes of what you're trying to process mentally in your life. I think it is hard. It is hard because on one end I was like, oh, I kind of wish I had a different therapist. I kind of want somebody who's a little bit more engaged, but I also was committed to myself and going through the timeline and going through the process and giving myself enough time to really build a rapport with this quote unquote professional to really be able to do the work, the mental work and the mental elevation that I needed. Um, I like it, but I definitely feel like it dredges up some things that you got to be prepared for, and you really, really have to be ready to do the work. Also, with mental health stuff, you can actually experience physical repercussions of dredging up emotional things that you've kept locked away or pushed down. So once you start speaking about things and pouring out those things that may be emotionally trapped in your body, because emotions do get trapped in your body, mental anguish, traumas do get trapped in your body. Once you start talking about it and dredging it up, please believe that you could definitely get some aches and pains in your body from dredging up and talking about these kind of emotional things. But it's necessary because you don't want that to be trapped in your body, that mental anguish to be trapped in your body and cause disease in your body, because it sure can. It sure can. So therapy has been helpful. Also, I think the big thing for me for the mental self care for therapy has been not talking to family and friends about these issues, taking them to the therapist, because your family and friends don't be giving you the right advice. They don't be giving you the right advice. They don't know what to say. They don't know you're being sometimes you're being an emotional burden on them. Husbands, wives, best friends, mother, daughter, father, son. These relationships can be emotionally heavy. And if you're going to your family members instead of a professional to help you work through traumas, you can be doing a disservice to yourself and putting undue burden and strain and stress on the relationship. So for me, I found myself talking a lot more to my therapist about things that bother me more than talking to my friends and my families and expecting them to be able to be miraculous and give me some amazing advice and then being disappointed when they can't. They're not a professional. They're not a professional. You know what I mean? And so I think that has been the biggest thing with for my mental hygiene, for my mental self-care, is speaking to a professional. And sometimes it's just a listening ear. Sometimes it's just blah, 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 talking to them. And they ask you one question or two questions. I do wish that my therapist was a little bit more engaged in helping me process through these things. But at the end of the day, this is who I'm aligned to now. And so there, on some level, there it must be doing something. So for my mental self-care, definitely could recommend therapy. Okay. Okay. I see Keith in the building. What's up, Keith? Keith, how are you? How are you feeling tonight? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good tonight. Still a little bit tired, still a little bit hungry, but definitely feeling good. And I'm ready to kick it with you guys per the usual. Okay. Cheers. Clink, clink, clink. Okay. So mental health, therapy. Okay, my other two mental health things, and these kind of overlap with physical as well. Meditation, meditation, and yoga. Meditation and yoga. Meditation is the practice of quieting your mind. Quieting your mind. quieting the thoughts, quieting the worries, quieting the judgments, quieting the anxieties, quieting the antsiness, quieting just the never ending chatter, quieting that so that I can better tune in to what my true inner guidance is and my true inner voice, and not only my own, but that from the spiritual realms. Yeah, we had an option about tuning into your inner guidance. Y'all voted for that at 22% this week. So we're getting into it a little bit, but mainly we're talking about it in the context of self-care. So meditation is that practice of quieting your thoughts and separating your thoughts from who you are. I could do a video specific on meditation, but it is very important. And I used to meditate only when I did my yoga practice, because in a yoga practice, you know, at the end of it, they give you Shavasana, and Shavasana is like a 2 to 5 minute quiet meditation relaxation period. But for my life, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to take up a meditation practice, and I'm going to try to meditate every single day. I'm going to try to pour into myself, quiet my mind, and let my true self rise. Let my true inner guidance be louder than the mental chatter, than the mental chatter. And when I tell you this has been the most important mental self-care practice I have ever had in my life, I don't have to put my mouth to the ground to tell y'all that. All you have to do is quiet that mind. Find just, you know, a few minutes a day to do that, and you will definitely see a change. So if y'all want me to go more into that, I can. I also do a lot of alternate nostril breathing. This is a little bit more advanced, but it's a way that you regulate your breath before you go into meditation, to help you cruise into meditation, into that quieter kind of internal introspective place. All it is taking your attention, taking your gaze from the external driving. What are you doing? When are you going? What are we doing? How are we going to do it? That external gaze, and turning your gaze inward. Turning your gaze inward into silence, into quiet, into peace, into harmony, into feeling into your body, feeling where the pains are, feeling where the anxieties are, feeling where the joy is in your body. Because if your gaze, if your attention is always forced outwards, you will not be able to hear the full guidance that is always coming to you from the internal. So that's the point of meditation, is to quiet that noise and that chatter so that you can actually hear the true whispers of yourself. Because your inner guidance is never going to yell over your mental chatter. Never. It's not going to, unless you're in a dire situation, in a dire situation, then you might get this guidance that comes over you. But for most day-to-day things, your inner guidance is speaking to you, but it's not going to yell over that mental worry and stress and anxiety and anguish and things like that they kind of pump into us through the television and other media sources. Okay, so for me, meditation has been, like, in terms of in the category of mental health, in the category of mental self-care, meditation has been my number one. Yoga, my other one on this list, is a mixture of physical body movements, focus, and a moving meditation. It's almost like Tai Chi. It's almost like, oh my gosh, what's that? There's a Brazilian capoeira kind of thing. It's almost like dance. You know, people get into dance, you get into the zone. Yoga helps you to get into that zone as well, but you're actually doing physical poses with it as well. And yoga I've been doing since college, and yoga kind of opened the door to meditation for me. Yoga opened the door for a lot of self-care practices, and I absolutely love it. It's one of the most important things, and when I don't do it, I definitely feel it in my body, and I definitely feel it in my ability to quiet, you know, kind of the anxiety and the chatter and the things that kind of wreak havoc on us mentally day to day. So I would say for yoga, that's been like my number one. That was my gateway drug. That was my gateway into everything. And so yoga is like my number one mental health, mental slash physical, and then meditation, quieting my mind, holding my mind in a place of clarity, of calm, of centeredness, of joy, of bliss, of knowing that I am supported, knowing that I am loved, knowing that I have never been led astray and I will not be led astray now, knowing that everything is working out for me, knowing that I am whatever affirmations is another thing that comes in and fits in with meditation, is knowing, reaffirming to myself, to both my conscious self and my subconscious, that I am well, all is taken care of, there's nothing to fear, you know what I mean, and conditioning my mind to think that way. All of that is done in meditation by first quieting that anxious mind and letting your true inner guidance and your true mind raise up, you know what I mean, be louder, be louder for you than the nervous mind, than the scared mind, than the survival mode mind, right? And so it's meditation is like that, quieting that survival mode mind and allowing your true well-being, your true well-being to rise. So so basically meditation helps with this balancing act. This balancing act, it brings a lot of balance and serenity into your day-to-day if you dedicate a few minutes a day to intentionally bring that balance and that harmony and that well-being into your life. And so a lot of decisions that I make on a day-to-day are much more clear if I have meditated. It's clearer to make the decisions and to pick the things that serve me better if I've meditated that day and brought my mind into a place of peace and serenity. Okay. So as you can see, I'm talking a lot about a meditation when it comes to that mental self-care, because it is like the most life-changing, most important thing. All right. So that's talking about mental self-care, mental hygiene, if you will. Right. Okay. So, all right. So physical, the gym. I like the gym. I like running on the treadmill. I like putting in my music in my ears and just moving my body. I like feeling how strong I am. I like lifting. I like going to classes. I like to go to the class and lift with other people. Half the time it's a little competitive because, it's just other people in the class and you want to be strong as well. And then the other half is the accountability of having your class, seeing the same people you see all the time. And the third is the instructor pushes you, shows you, the right postures and things like that. But the gym, I've been going to the gym since college. It has physical self-care is very important to move your body. It's very important to move your body. Your body, for me, how do I talk about this? One, as I said at the top of the broadcast, you could trap emotions in your body. You can trap traumas in your body, in certain places, of your body. And so moving it is extremely, extremely important when you're pushing weights, when you're running on the treadmill, when you are controlling and managing your body and loving on your body that way. It really makes a difference in your day-to-day. Feeling yourself as strong, feeling yourself in command of this physical vessel that your spirit inhabits. This physical vessel that your spirit and your soul and your mind inhabits, and that was you inherited, this physical vessel that you inherited, caring for it in a way, keeping it strong, keeping it healthy, keeping it mobile, keeping it flexible. One of the greatest physical self-care things that you can do. There's a lot of people that be complaining about going to the gym and thinking that they can be skinny and look nice by sitting on the couch and willing themselves to look that way. Now, I'm not going to never say never. If you got it like that, if you're a magician like that, by all means. But I think you're doing yourself a disservice because you don't get up and move that body. I think you're giving yourself a disservice if you don't get up and find something that you like to do to move your body and keep it limber and keep it strong and feel into your body. Feel your command of these limbs. Okay? Be in command of this vessel. Be the charioteer to this vessel that you inherited. Be a good steward of your body while you're in it. if you know what I'm saying. So for me, love being in the gym. Definitely. First of all, love, look, the little muscles. Look, I like it. I like the little come on now. Don't act like you ain't. I like it. You know what I mean? And so for me, moving my body, getting in the gym, all of that, definitely necessary for my physical self-care, for my physical hygiene, makes you feel good. And when after you finish working out, them endorphins. Now, I will say this, taking care of your hair and all of that when you're going to the gym, not something easy for Black women, but, look, it's a non-negotiable for me because the way I feel in my body, the clarity, even the working out, the mental clarity that it brings, the decisiveness that it brings, the confidence that it brings, the sexiness that it brings. Look, that's a non-negotiable for me. And I've not found anything else physically that works better than for me than making me feel good in my body than my lifting and my classes and my yoga and my running on the treadmill and things like that. So I would definitely suggest that be a part of your self-care regime, especially lifting weights. Not all the time cardio. Push some heavy weight. Get a trainer for a couple weeks and let them show you how to lift some heavy weights at that gym and push out that trauma out of your body. Push out that anxiety. Push out that fear. Push out that nervousness. Push out that self-doubt. Push that out of your body. Push that out of your spirit. Push it out. That is why lifting weights is empowering, at least in my experience. Okay. Another physical thing that I do that I just picked up, acupuncture. Now for me, this feels a little bit high level. It's taken me a while to get to this. I have a bestie that talks about it all the time. She's done it for a self-care practice for a while. It was on my list, but recently I've been getting a lot of feedback. I've been seeing it a lot of in my awareness. It's been crossing paths with me. So I'm like, let me look at this acupuncture because I'm feeling like I really need to try it. And so far I've done it 2 times. You have to get to it. You have to get there in your path. But just if you have seen it a couple of times, let this be another reinforcement that it definitely is powerful. It's definitely powerful, and it definitely can usher in some changes in your life if you are trying to go that route to usher in some changes in your life. Okay. Acupuncture. The other thing that I've done physically is massage. Now I've been doing massages for a long time, get professional, massage envy or, an Asian massage place or something like that, because I would work out a lot and I definitely needed, that touch, that physical touch to, restore my muscles in my body. And so it was also a good stress reliever as well. And so I always used to do massage, and I used to think, how do people go through life in these stressful jobs and these kids and these husbands and these lives and not get massages? Like how do you do that? How do you heal your body? How do you heal your body? This self-care practices, this is all about healing your body. This is all about honoring your body. You know what I mean? And so how do you go through life and not do these restorative practices? So I was always baffled by it. So for years, I've been getting massages, and I definitely recommend that as well. I would recommend massages over acupuncture because I feel like acupuncture you have to get to. But if you have something chronic going on with you, if you have something like Crohn's, some digestional issues, some rheumatoid arthritis, anything chronic, definitely look into acupuncture to help you. In addition to whatever billions of pills these Western medicine people put you on. Definitely try Eastern counterparts. Acupuncture is an Eastern medicine. It's like 3,000 or 2,000 years old, and it's by Eastern, so it's Asian. It's a Chinese healing modality. It's a Chinese healing modality. Yoga is an Indian healing, unifying modality, bringing unity into yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Acupuncture is similar, but it's Asian, and it's working with the chi, the flow of energy through your body. So you have to get to these places. This might not be something that you would do off the rib because it might not resonate with you. But as you progress on your kind of spiritual journey, as you progress on your self-love journey, as you progress in your ascension and your level up, you might get to the point where you want that next level healing, that next level self-care, self-love. And for me, it went from massage, which is that physical healing, to acupuncture, which is an energetic healing. As I said, infertility issues, Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis, any of those chronic diseases or chronic issues that you might be working through, consider acupuncture. It's a physical energetic. It kind of like straddles the border between spiritual and physical self-care for me. It's working with chi, so it's kind of more spiritual, but it is something that's done physically to you. And so, yeah, if you want to know more about that, I'll let you know. I have a couple more sessions, and then I'm gonna see how I feel about it. But after 2 sessions, I can recommend it. I at least write it down, think about it, see if you know anybody else who's tried it. Sorry, I'm playing with my hair. It's big today. Anyway, so acupuncture. Another physical thing that I've changed recently that's really been a part of my self-care practice is organic food. Organic food. I had went to the doctor, told her all the issues that I was dealing with. This was a regular general practitioner. And she said, okay, do you eat it organic? I said, no. She's like, change immediately. Immediately. I'm like, really? Is that big of an issue? She said, immediately. So the way I'm set up, you ain't got to tell me twice. I changed everything. Everything that I can get my hands on that was organic, I did, because I knew, as I said, I told you I'm in my little experimental phase. So when the doctor said change to organic, especially the big 12 or whatever she said, the 12 critical ones, I did that. And I feel like it's the clarity to my mind, to my skin. My digestion has been better. My stress levels have been lower. I just feel like I can progress through my life a little bit better by changing the chemicals that I'm introducing into my system. And so when you change your food to organic foods, those chemicals that are pumping and coursing through your blood and through your digestional tract are no longer there, or at least greatly reduced, and that you do see a change in your body and your thinking and your anxiety levels and your worry levels and your decision making. All of those things are shifted if you change your food. Also, I've cut out dairy. I still eat a little bit of it, but I've drastically reduced dairy, uh, changed to organic. Yeah, a little lighter. I still I eat chicken, I eat fish. Red meat I'll have occasionally, pork occasionally. But organic was the biggest change. And so I definitely can say, in terms of self-care, how do I feel about the food? Do I feel like it should be organic? I think yes. Yes, do some research into that. But I also think you need to change other eating habits as well, like maybe reducing the dairy, reducing the processed foods, hydration, drinking a lot of water. That, to me, that was another thing that the doctor had told me to do, is drastically increase the amount of water. She wanted me to drink at least 90 ounces of water a day. And I think that really helps. And again, if you're making these decisions in your life, if you're trying to level up, if you're spiritually ascending, any changes that you want to go through in your life that requires a lot of mental energy to make the decision, up your water intake. Up your water intake dramatically. It definitely helps process through a lot of things in your life. If you're in therapy, up your water. If you're getting massages, up your water. If you're working out, up your water. If you're doing acupuncture, up your water. Everything that you do in terms of a self-care practice, if you really want it to take, if you really want it to sink in, if you want to see the best benefits of it, increase your water levels. Drink more water. Immediately. As well as rest and sleep more. You know what I mean? I think we've been doing that this week because we all been real tired this week. Yeah. I see Rubes in the building. Hey, boo, hey. She said, sipping water this eve, and have to say that upping that water intake has helped so much. 100%. 100%. Cheers. Clink, 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 clink. So, Ruse, we're talking about self-care practices. Which ones are the most important? We already went through the mental self-care practices. We talked a little bit about that therapy. We talked a little bit about yoga, which straddles the line between mental and physical. And we talked about meditation. we're on right now to physical self-care practices that are most important. We talked about getting in the gym, working out, being in command of this physical vessel that you are a steward over for a period of time, being a good steward of this physical vessel that you inherited, that you only have a period of time to be the chariot of. So being a good steward of it by getting in the gym, right? We also talked about massage. We talked about acupuncture. We talked about the food that we are eating and keeping it clean as possible. These are all physical things that I've personally changed, that I've personally worked on, that I think are amazing self-care practices that you can consider putting in your little self-care practice, your weekly self-care practice. Now, the doll does some other, beauty regime things, moisturizing, nails, hair done, pedicure, manicure, all of that, those types of things as well. But we'll refrain from talking about those because those are more beauty self-care practices, which I think are very important. Men and women, beauty, grooming, all of that is very important. But I think for today's conversation, when we're talking about deep self-care, we got to talk about the food, we got to talk about acupuncture, massage, working out, lifting, and pushing those traumas out of your body, out of your aura through physical activity and through command of the physical. Okay? So, next things next, our final pillar in our self-care, we're talking about spiritual self-care and some of this spiritual hygiene, spiritual self-care. And some of this we dibbled and dabbled in the mental and the physical, but we're going to talk about it specific in our little spiritual section of self-care practices. Which self-care habits are the most important? Talking about that tonight on our Friday night kickback, week 44. Week 44, if you're into numbers like I am. Cheers. Clink, 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 clink. All right, so what's Rube saying? Rube is saying, Dr. Emoto water experiment ish is real. If you aren't familiar with this groundbreaking study, please everyone read up and apply in your life. Water is life, love, and holds memory. So, all right, so let me tell you a little bit of a spiritual practice that works with water that I think Rube might be talking about here with Dr. Emoto. You can actually infuse, I'm going to use the word infuse, hopefully that's the right word. You can actually imbue or infuse water with intention. Infuse water with intention. If you ever come to my house, you'll see my big water picture. On the side of it, written on the side of the picture, I've taped something to the side of it, and it says optimal health, optimal physical health, optimal mental health, optimal spiritual health. I think that's what I have on it. And because I want all the water that is contained in that picture to provide this body, my intention for the water as I drink it from that picture is to give me optimal spiritual health, optimal physical health, optimal hydration, optimal metabolic processing. Okay. So as I understand it, you can, as you put intention into water, the molecules actually shift. And so it does something. I don't know, go Google what Ruby said. Here, do Dr. Emoto, Google that. But just know that my water has intention set over it. Because I want it to work in a certain way in my body. And I believe that's what Ruby is talking about here with Dr. Emoto. And water is a really powerful way to do that. So we didn't talk about it, but thanks for dropping that gem. Absolutely learning from the collective wisdom of the IT'S KELLS community. Ruby M's dropping gems in the chat today. You can infuse water with particular intentions that you would like for your body or for your health or for your mental state or anything like that. And so if you want to know more about that, definitely check out Dr. Emoto. As Ruby has suggested, she says, word, I can tell you walk that walk, my love, looking like a light bulb, sparkling and dazzling. Thank you. Thank you, darling. I appreciate it. Yes, definitely been doubling down on the self-care. Definitely been setting the vibrational atmosphere for this new changes that's ushering in. Definitely been doing the experimentation. Definitely been loving on myself. Definitely been resting. Definitely setting the stage for bigger and better and that level up. And so when you do these self-care practices, I'm going to tell you that people be noticing. You don't even got to say nothing. People notice. And, you know, you have to be okay with that. So thank you so much for the love. Really appreciate it. So, okay. So getting into our spiritual practices, our spiritual self-care, which self-care habits are most important? I can tell you about. I'm just telling you what I do, and then you guys let me know what you do, what you're thinking, thoughts, just sharing openly here, learning from the collective wisdom of the IT'S KELLS community. So spiritual, pray, praying, praying to me is talking to the divine, talking to God, being in communication with God, being expressing appreciation, expressing your needs, your wants, your desires, being in open communication with the divine. That praying is, to me, is a little bit different than meditation. Meditation is a quieting of your mind so that you can hear and that you can receive. Prayer is a being vocal with God, being vocal with God. And so I think it's definitely necessary for your spiritual self-care to remember to pray, remember to consult the divine, remember to ask God for what you want. Hey, God, I'm thinking this is what I want. I'm thinking this is what I need. Can you show me? Can you let me know? You talk to the divine. You are not in this alone. I don't think we get it. I think we think that God is some big father figure that, will smite us if we don't curtsy to him. That's not what God, you're co-creating with God. You are an offshoot of God. You know what I mean? The perspective that is you are giving God if I get into this, by who you are, God lives and speaks and grows and evolves through you. So you have to be in open communication, with God, and you can do that through prayer. Okay. So I definitely think remembering to pray, remembering to pray, remembering to ask for God's covering, remember to give appreciation to God. Definitely necessary for your spiritual self-care, for your spiritual hygiene. Other thing I have on here is meditation. As I said before, praying is kind of speaking and communicating outwardly to God. Meditation is quieting your mind so that you can be receptive to God's voice within you, your inner voice, your inner guidance. Spiritual cleansing is my other thing. What do I mean by spiritual cleansing? That means throwing stuff away. I burn a lot of incense in my house. I burn a lot of frankincense and myrrh in my house. I burn sage in my house. I burn palo santo in my house. Clearing everything. And not only do I burn it, when I burn it, I am setting an intention over the burn. Why are you burning things? Don't just do things willy-nilly. You have to set your intention. What do I mean by setting intention? Dictating what you want, what you're doing it for, what this action should bring into your life, or what this action should do for you. Earlier, when we were talking about setting intention over the water, the reason why I set intention over my pitcher of water is because I want to make sure it's clear what I want this water to do for my body. I want hydration. I want great, well-working metabolism. I want weight loss. I want physical health. I want mental clarity. I want, whatever I want this water to do for me, you set the intention for it. Same thing when I'm talking about spiritually cleansing, what I want this incense to do for me. If I want to burn this incense because I'm thanking God for the day, I'm burning the incense to thank God for the day. Burn my incense. You know what I mean? But take this, the frankincense or myrrh or the palo santo or the sage. What am I doing? I'm clearing out anything that is not for my highest and greatest in this house. Removed now, immediately. There is no space for nothing in here that is not for my highest and greatest. Burn my sage. Run out the bad energy. Run out the bad mind. Frankincense and myrrh, same thing. Buy a new car, buy a new house, buy a new property, buy anything brand new. If you want to imbue it with your intentions, you want to imbue it with your spiritual purity, you want to imbue it with your energetic footprint, you can use frankincense and myrrh and palo santo and sage to do that. You just don't burn it because you've seen somebody on the internet burn it. You just don't burn it because you've seen some Kardashian burn it. Set your own intentions over your practices and your rituals. So if we're talking about spiritual self-care, if we're talking about spiritual hygiene, I'm telling you about burning that incense, burning that frankincense and myrrh, burning Palo Santo or sage. This is what I do. Do you have to do it? No. You might have allergies. You might have asthma. You might not be able to burn nothing in where you live at because you're renting, or your neighbors might be sensitive or something like that. You can do other things that clear energetics from your space. I see people use sprays, mists, also Florida water. You could use Florida water. You could burn a candle, you know what I mean, and set an intention over the candle. But essentially what you're asking is you're asking for clearing. You're asking for anything that is not for your highest and greatest to be removed from your space. You know what I mean? And return to sender, return to source. You know what I mean? Only anything that is in this space is for your highest and greatest. And you set those intentions. You set those intentions. So that's another spiritual hygiene, spiritual self-care practice that I think is worthy to be shared with you guys. Okay? Worthy to be shared. I'm getting 100s in the chat. Okay, Rube's in the building. Okay, so spiritual cleansing. You can also do a spiritual cleansing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard somebody do a spiritual bath or a salt bath, an Epsom salt bath, or things like that. And so you can clear your physical body that way as well, like a salt bath or a hot bath or something like that, where you put certain ingredients in and you kind of soak away the impurities that may be present that you want to clear from your body. And so that's another way that you can do that, a spiritual bath. You might want to Google that if that sounds interesting to you. If any of these things, let me tell you something. How do you know if something's for you? How do you know if something's for you? You know it's for you if when you hear it, you're curious about it. Huh? What's that? A spiritual bath? What's a spiritual bath? Write it down. Go Google schmoogle it. See if it's for you. Do the research. What incense, frankincense and myrrh? Write it down. Google schmoogle it. See if it's interesting for you. So if any of these things are like, I don't really like that, by all means, leave it. Leave it alone. If you hear something that's like, oh, I like that, Google it. Lean into it. That's how you follow your intuition. If it's interesting to you, if it's curious to you, if your ear perks up, if you're intrigued by it, that's how you kind of know it's for you. That's how you follow your intuition. So if any of these things, and you're like, spiritual bath, that's like the third time I heard somebody say that. What is that? Follow your intuition. Do the research. Mind your business. That's all. Just mind your, okay. You know what I'm going to do. Do the research. Okay. And then the last thing I have here on sound. Sound is a powerful clearing tool. Crystal bowls, chimes. Okay, so thank you, Ruby, for saying this. Exactly. So in addition to burning, smoking out your place and clearing the energetics of your space with like frankincense or myrrh or incense or palo santo or sage or Florida water or anything like that, you can use sound. And of course this would come from Ruby, the singer extraordinaire. You can use sound. You can use clapping. You can clear space by clapping. You can use sound bowls, as Ruby has said here. You can use chimes. And so basically you're clearing the vibrational atmosphere. When we're talking about spirit, we're talking about non-physical. We're talking about vibration. We're talking about frequency. These things are non-physical things that you can't see with your naked eye, but you can definitely sense and are definitely present, right? So sound. I clap a lot. Like if I want to clear the space, I can clap, set the intention that I want the space cleared, and you can clap. Sound bowls are amazing. A lot of people do meditations to sound bowls. These are these big white bowls, and they use that. I don't know what the right proper terminology is, but they use that stick or round thing to make sounds with it, and it clears the frequency. It clears the frequency of your space. And so that's another way that you can clear your energetic space. I don't do that, but I definitely know Ruby does do that for her spiritual self-care, and your spiritual hygiene. So sound definitely is amazing. I do know that music means a lot to me, and it can transmit a lot of emotions, and can clear a lot of emotions for me as well. So I definitely know sound is super important for your spiritual hygiene and what you listen to. Not always listening to the most ratchet thing, because it definitely can impact you. Okay, enough about sound. I think the final thing on your spiritual self care and your spiritual hygiene, this came up for me this week, and I'm still processing through it. So I don't know how to fully explain it, but it came through as spiritual incompatibility. Spiritual incompatibility. Okay. And we're talking about which self care habits are most important. And we're on the spiritual pillar. We talked about the mental pillar, we talked about the physical pillar. Now we're on the spiritual pillar. Last thing for me on the spiritual pillar of self care is spiritual incompatibility. Still processing this. So it came in as not being on the same page with certain people. Not being on the same page with certain people. I had a situation come up where I wasn't feeling like I was on the same page with certain people. And I kind of was like asking, why do I feel that? Why do I feel like I'm not on the same page with these people no more? And it came through, what I heard was, what my inner guidance said was spiritual incompatibility. Now, I have never researched that. I don't know nothing about it, but I understood it as, oh, we're not. You cannot put yourself in circumstances where you're around people that you're spiritually incompatible with. And as you continue to do your self-care and your self-hygiene with your mental self-care and your physical self-care and your spiritual self-care, you are going to get into a situation where people that you normally would have kicked it with, places that you normally would have went, foods that you normally would have eaten, things that you normally would have listened to or watched on television, things that you would have otherwise consumed with your eyes or with your ears or with your mouth or with your heart or with your physical body, with your touch, you're no longer able to consume. You are no longer spiritually compatible with it. Seeing 11122 on the clock, if you're into numbers like I am. And so once you walk through certain thresholds, once you walk through certain doors, once you get to certain levels, you are not going to be able to take everything with you. You're not going to be able, you're going to be spiritually incompatible with certain people, certain places, certain things, certain foods, certain sounds, certain clothes, certain behaviors, certain mindsets, certain emotions, certain habits, certain patterns. These things will not be able to come with you as you level up your self-care. They will be spiritually incompatible with you. They will not be on the same vibrational frequency. You will be incoherent. It will feel uncomfortable. It will not feel right. Something about it in your gut or your instinct or your intuition will not let it sit properly with you. It is spiritually incompatible. It is spiritually incompatible. So I'm still working through that, because that just came through for me this week. And I was like, oh, that's what the problem is. That's what the problem is. And it is a true thing. It is a true thing. So I was like, oh, okay. I get it. I get it. I get it. Okay. So that is the last thing I have about spiritual self care, and that piece was a little bit about what to expect when you start caring for yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually in a certain way. You have to be prepared that you're going to start to be spiritually incompatible with certain things. And don't be frightened by that, or don't disregard it. It's just a natural progression. It's just natural. It's just natural. If you're committed to your self care, to your self love, to healing yourself, to loving on yourself in a certain intentional way. Okay. So, oh my gosh, spiritual. Yeah. 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 The last thing I have on my notes here is I'm trying to see if it makes sense for the spiritual self-care, sorry, for the self-care in general, self-care habits that are most important. Um, Self-abandonment. Woo! So another thing, I think one of the most interesting things that you're going to have to grapple with a little bit when you really start leaning into your self-care, when you really start paying attention to what you do, what your habits are, which things that you do that you know you're doing to pour into yourself, that you know that I'm intentionally doing this, I'm intentionally working out, I'm intentionally eating organic, I'm intentionally getting acupuncture and massage, I'm intentionally setting aside to meditate, I'm intentionally praying to God tonight, I'm intentionally distancing myself from that feels spiritually incompatible, it feels discomfort. When I am doing my burning incense and setting intention that I'm clearing my space, when I'm doing my sound bowls and my sound healing and things like that, when you start to really intentionally put your mind and pouring into yourself and intentionally bolstering or lifting up your self-care practices, you will therapy when I'm doing my mental health and my therapy, my therapeutic, my trauma resolution and letting go of trauma bonds and things like that. When you really start to intentionally pour into yourself, you will ultimately have to face self-abandonment, and how before you were doing all of these self-care practices, you may have been abandoning yourself a little bit. Basically, not doing the healing practices, not doing the self-care and the self-love practices that really elevate you. This is something that I've been working on, and how it came out for me, what it felt like to me or what it looked like for me is self-abandonment looked like for me making decisions based on what other people said success was. And not just other people said success was, I was gauging my success on that as well. I was saying, okay, well, if that's what success is, I'll do it, even though I know the shit didn't feel good for me. Even though I knew I didn't really like that. You know what I mean? Even though I knew that it didn't feel good, abandoning myself, not caring for myself. You know what I mean? Letting other people's opinions and ideas and mindsets and patterns and behaviors govern what I was doing, to my detriment. Even when I knew that I don't like this, but this is how I make money. I don't like this, but this is what they said success is. I don't like this, but I don't see no other way. You know what I mean? Self-abandonment. So that came up for me when you really start leaning into your self-care practices, you ultimately have to recognize like, oh shoot, I may have been abandoning myself by not working out. I may have been abandoning myself by not doing my meditations. I may have been abandoning myself by not resting, by not feeling deserving of rest, by not feeling that I'm doing enough and not feeling deserving of rest. Rest is another self-care practice that we overlook, right? So self-care is loving and pouring onto yourself and recognizing where you may be abandoning yourself and making the decision that I am no longer going to abandon myself. I'm no longer going to disregard my intuition. I'm no longer going to go against myself. I'm no longer going to hold somebody else's opinion in greater regard than my own opinion. I'm going to find the courage. I'm going to find the discipline to give the very best to myself where I can, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I am going to love on myself the best way I can. That is my self-care. And that is something that you'll face when you start pouring into your self-care, learning to turn away from self-abandonment and turning towards self-love. I do these videos so you know you're not out here in these sometimes crazy dating, living, loving world. If this is your first time here, I'd love to have you subscribe. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video from me. And if you're an oldie but a goodie, a returning viewer, good looking out, replay gang, drop this in the chat and let me know your thoughts about our mental, physical, and spiritual self-care practices, self-care habits that we think are the most important. Let me know if we missed any. I loved Rube's sound recommendations, sound clearing recommendations. I love the water, setting intentions into the water recommendations. All of that. All of that. And if you loved tonight's conversation like Rube's did, woo, hitting home. If this hit home for you, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. And join us next week, 7 p.m. or thereabouts, for week 45. Consistent for our Friday night kickbacks. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this one talking about self-care, leaving that self-abandonment alone, going towards that self-care and that self-love. With that being said, if there's nothing more to be said, if the collective is quiet, if y'all let me, I will say good night, guys. Bye. See you next week.